Welcome back to the Wisdom of Stoics. Life is filled with countless challenges, and the road we walk has never been smooth. On that journey, many people seek a peaceful place, a safe area where they do not have to face pain and fatigue. However, you have probably heard that it is the hardships and the times we must overcome difficulties that are the opportunities for us to become stronger and more resilient. If we want to achieve success, we must accept training and commit to unpleasant challenges. Perhaps that path will be full of sweat and tears, but in return, that is when our minds become steadfast and persistent, ready for all of life's events. When we dare to face and overcome our fears, we are taking steady steps to build a strong will. Let's join the Wisdom of Stoics to learn how to train yourself so that when you look back, you're proud of having lived a life without regrets. If you find the content useful, please support the channel by clicking the subscribe button so that we can bring more meaningful value. Part 1. The journey of forging a steel spirit. The journey to forge a resilient spirit requires commitment and constant practice. Here are the core principles to help you build your inner strength. 1. Step out of your comfort zone. Many people like to live in safety without taking risks because they do not have to face difficulties or challenges. However, if you only stick to familiar things, your life will never go far. The comfort zone is a place of comfort, but it is also a place that limits your potential. To be truly strong and rise up, you need to dare to step out of it, to face things that make you afraid or uncomfortable. Do not be afraid to step into new situations. See them as opportunities to challenge and discover yourself. When you dare to face insecurity, you will realize that you are stronger than you think. Every time you overcome a fear or a limit, you are building a new layer of strength for yourself, a more resilient spirit. Challenges are not negative, they are opportunities that help you grow. When you truly get out of your comfort zone, you will see that you are capable of doing more than you ever thought. Stepping out of your comfort zone is the first step to conquering yourself. 2. Accept and face difficulties. Difficulties are an indispensable part of life. Don't expect life to always be easy and favorable, because challenges are the very factors that help you develop. Every time you encounter difficulties, don't be discouraged or avoid them. Accept them as part of the journey. When you face and overcome challenges, you will realize that you are getting stronger. A strong person is not someone who doesn't encounter difficulties, but someone who knows how to get up after each fall. See each challenge as an opportunity to learn and train your will. Facing difficulties is also how you practice endurance and develop patience. Life will not bring you easy things. You have to create your own path. Practice the habit of facing difficulties every day. When you do something difficult, you not only complete a task, but also train your mental strength. Remember that difficulties are just stepping stones for you to go further, and each time you overcome them is a time you prove your own strength. 3. Learn to accept failure and move forward. Failure is inevitable, and in fact, it is an important part of success. Strong and resilient people are those who know how to learn from failure instead of letting it hold them back. When you fail, don't think it's the end, but see it as a valuable lesson. It's an opportunity for you to look back, analyze, and improve. Failure does not reflect your weakness. The way you get up after failure shows your mettle. Learn to accept failure positively. Ask yourself, what have I learned from this failure? And what do I need to improve to do better next time? When you see failure as part of the development process, you will no longer feel discouraged every time you encounter difficulties. Every failure is an opportunity for you to go further. The person who never fails is the person who never tries. True success comes only when you persevere and keep trying despite all difficulties and failures. This is the only way for you to develop a strong spirit that is not afraid to face new challenges. 4. Develop a steadfast spirit through perseverance. Perseverance is an indispensable factor in building a strong spirit. In life, you will encounter many obstacles, but the important thing is to never give up. Perseverance is not just about continuing when things are going well, but not giving up when things get tough. To be steadfast, you must be willing to endure and overcome harsh challenges. Practice endurance through daily challenges. When you have a bad day, consider it an opportunity to test your strength. You need to train yourself every day. Do something difficult, challenge yourself every day, and train your spirit and will. Don't let difficulties discourage you. Let them become a source of motivation for you to continue trying. Perseverance will help you conquer all difficulties and achieve your goals. 5. Live with a clear vision and values. A life with goals and meaning is a life that can help you overcome all difficulties. When you know where you want to go and why you need to go there, you will have the motivation to persevere and not give up easily. A clear vision not only helps you determine your direction, but is also a strong source of motivation in difficult times. Take the time to determine what is most important to you, the values you want to preserve, and the goals you want to achieve. When you live by your own values, you will not be shaken by challenges or criticism from others. This is an invisible source of strength that helps you be steadfast and steady. Life will become more meaningful when you live true to your values. Don't let anyone or any circumstance make you lose that. Live with a clear and meaningful goal, because only then will you truly live strongly and steadfastly, overcoming all challenges to conquer the peaks of life. 6. Harness the power of simplicity and focus. In today's complex and distracting world, keeping life simple and focusing on what really matters is an important factor in developing mental strength. Simplifying your life helps you reduce stress and focus on essential goals. When your mind is not distracted by trivial worries or outside noise, you will have the power to focus all your energy on what is truly meaningful. Try looking back at your daily habits and questioning their value. Eliminate things that don't bring real benefits, such as too much time spent on social media, negative thoughts, or unhealthy relationships. When you proactively make your life simpler, you will free up energy for bigger goals, for the dreams you have set. Focus is an important skill in the process of personal development. To achieve that, know how to say no to distractions and know how to put aside unnecessary pressures. Simplifying does not mean giving up on big dreams, but it is a way for you to focus better on the practical steps to make your dreams come true. When you know what is most important, you will have the strength not to back down even when facing difficulties. 7. Cherish and promote the ability to be independent. The spirit of independence is one of the factors that help you become stronger and more steadfast in the face of life's challenges. When you learn to be independent, you will become more confident in your abilities and not be dependent on others or the surrounding circumstances. Independence is not simply the ability to do everything yourself, but also the courage to accept responsibility and take responsibility for your own life. To promote the ability to be independent, start by setting specific goals and committing to achieving them. When you plan your own life, you will not be swayed by outside opinions. The spirit of independence is a continuous practice. It is the ability to stand firm when no one is around to help and knowing how to find solutions to your problems. When you are independent, you will have the right to decide and believe in your own abilities. Do not let yourself be too dependent on others. Instead, take advantage of all the abilities you have to achieve your own goals. Independence will help you develop a strong spirit and feel proud of yourself every time you overcome a challenge. 8. Always be grateful and appreciate what you have. Gratitude is one of the greatest mental strengths you can cultivate. When you focus on what you have instead of what you lack, you will have a more positive outlook on life. Gratitude not only helps you reduce stress and anxiety, but is also a source of positive energy to help you overcome difficulties more easily. Every day, take time to think about the things that make you feel grateful, even if they are small things like a sunny day, a delicious meal, or love from a loved one. Gratitude will enrich your life, helping you realize that even when you encounter difficulties or challenges, there are still good things that exist. Living with gratitude not only helps you build a strong spirit, but also spreads positive energy to those around you. When you appreciate what you have, you will have the motivation to try harder and live better. Gratitude is not just an attitude, but a source of strength that helps you stay steadfast in the face of all life's events. 9. Develop a creative spirit to overcome difficulties. A creative spirit not only helps you develop your intelligence, but is also a powerful tool to face challenges. When you use creativity, you will see new and effective solutions to your problems. Never limit yourself to old methods, but find ways to develop creativity to overcome barriers. Creativity is the way for you to renew yourself, make a difference, and always move forward. Find ways to learn, experiment, and constantly explore. For every difficulty you encounter, see it as an opportunity to develop creativity, to think of new solutions. When you know how to use creativity in difficult times, you will become more flexible and stronger. Remember that creativity is an indispensable part of success. The ability to look at problems from different perspectives will help you overcome all challenges. Don't be afraid of change. Don't be afraid of creativity. Creativity will help you constantly develop and build a strong and resilient spirit. 10. Build positive habits to develop spirit. Positive habits are the foundation for building a strong spirit. When you maintain healthy habits, you not only improve your health, but also create a strong spirit in the face of all challenges. Positive habits, such as waking up early to exercise, reading books, or spending time for yourself, help you develop your spirit, increase endurance and patience. Start with small changes every day, such as spending 10 minutes every morning to focus on goals, or spending a few minutes at the end of the day to look back on what you have done. When you practice positive habits persistently, they will become an indispensable part of your life, helping you prepare mentally to face all challenges. Positive habits will be a source of motivation for you to be more confident in life, to help you always be ready for anything that happens. Build habits that you believe will help you develop better, and you will see that your spirit becomes stronger and more steadfast every day. As we forge this inner strength, this resilience built through accepting challenges, learning from failure, and living with purpose, we create a fortress within ourselves. This fortress protects us from the storms of life. But a fortress is only as strong as the treasures it is built to defend. Therefore, the journey of building a steel spirit is inseparable from understanding what is truly worth protecting. To be truly unbreakable, we must not only be strong, but we must also be clear about the sacred parts of ourselves that should never be compromised for anyone or anything. Part 2. 7 things you should never sacrifice for anyone. When we talk about things we should not sacrifice for anyone, perhaps many people think of great and distant things, but the truth is, the most precious things are often the very familiar ones that are the foundation of who we are. In our lives, we often have to face the pressure to compromise, sometimes to keep the peace, sometimes because we want to please others. But have we ever wondered if, somewhere in that process, we are gradually losing ourselves? There are things that, once let go, are difficult to get back. Those things are not only symbols of self-worth, but also the roots for us to develop, to find joy and true meaning in life. From self-respect, dreams, and time to mental health or passion, everything is an important part of ourselves. Today, we will look back at those core things to understand why no one has the right to demand them, and no one is worth giving them up for. 1. Your self-respect. Self-respect is the core of each of us. It is something that cannot be lost or compromised. When we sacrifice self-respect just to please others or to avoid conflict, we are in fact handing over the steering wheel of our lives to others. People begin to challenge our boundaries, gradually pushing the limits until our most precious values are also encroached upon. We will find ourselves accepting words that are not tolerable, inappropriate behavior. And then one day, we look in the mirror and no longer recognize ourselves. Imagine in a relationship, At first, everything seems normal. Small comments like you are too sensitive, or maybe you are not good enough for that job gradually appear. Because you do not want to argue, you ignore them, thinking they are just temporary words. But when those words gradually accumulate, we begin to believe them, withdraw, and doubt our own worth. And then at some point, we no longer see the strong, confident image as before, but instead a vulnerable self, willing to accept everything just to please others. Reclaiming self-respect is not easy. Standing up for yourself after a long time of being humble is a challenging thing. Some people will say you have changed, become difficult, or even selfish, but the truth is, people are only comfortable when you do not make them uncomfortable. When you are easygoing and always accepting, once you start setting limits and refusing disrespectful words, you become a threat to the safety they have from you. Compromising self-respect does not mean being cold or lacking empathy, but knowing how to protect your values, being willing to step out of environments where people do not respect us. Sometimes society honors self-sacrifice to please others, but in fact, if you have to sacrifice self-esteem, it is not altruism, but self-destruction. Once you put self-respect first, positive things will come. You will attract relationships that truly respect you, people who share the same values. The final message is, respect yourself so that no one can treat you disrespectfully. Don't make excuses for the disrespect of others, just because you understand them. Compassion is a good thing, but being a doormat is another story. 2. Your dreams. For each person, dreams are not simply distant goals, but also something that brings meaning, the motivation for us to wake up every morning, the light that guides the way for a life that is truly worth living. Yet dreams are the thing that we most easily give up when others ask or expect. Words like be more realistic, how long will you dream, make dreams be taken lightly, framed in what is called reasonable and acceptable. But in fact, dreams are not born to be within frameworks, but for us to overcome them. Once, I shared a big dream of mine, and the person opposite looked at me as if I had just said something impossible. They just replied with a short answer, really ambitious. That word doesn't sound malicious, but actually, it's a reminder that they don't believe I can do it. Right at that moment, I also questioned myself, wondering if I was delusional. But then I realized the person who advises us to give up on our dreams is not the person who will live with regret if we give up. Only we can feel that loss, and that loss will follow us for the rest of our lives. Dreams are not just personal goals, but also a manifestation of ourselves, of our passion, of what we imagine a meaningful life to be. Sacrificing a dream just to please others is extinguishing the fire in our hearts, because it's too bright for them. When the fire in us gradually dies out, we will live a life that doesn't really belong to us, just a shadow passing the days without a destination. People can tell you that pursuing dreams is selfish, is shirking responsibility, but think about it. If you can achieve what you have always dreamed of, you will not only perfect yourself, but also inspire many others. There will be many people who give up their dreams because they think they need to be stable to take care of their family, or because reality requires it. But has anyone said that a stable life is a project before the dream? A complete life is when we can bring the dream into our lives and make it a part of reality. No one says you have to give up everything to pursue your dream, but ask yourself why that dream has to wait. If you do not take it seriously, do not give it a chance. Who will? A dream, big or small, deserves to be nurtured because it is the piece that makes up the life in each of us. When you persistently pursue your dream, no matter what people say. 3. Your time, once gone, can never be retrieved. But in life, we often give away our time as easily as if it were endless. Someone needs help moving house. You agree immediately. A co-worker asks you to handle an extra task that no one else wants to do. You nod. But have you ever wondered if those moments really bring any value to yourself? I used to be the same, saying yes to any offer, because I thought that was a way to prove that I was a good person and a responsible person. But then I realized that those things did not help me to be satisfied or develop, but only made me exhausted and tired. The long days passed by with a series of chores, and in the end, I had no time left for myself, for the things that I really loved and wanted to do. The sad thing is that when you're always willing to give your time without thinking, rarely does anyone realize its preciousness. Others will assume that you are always ready, that your time is available to them. But how many people will be there when you really need help? Then you will understand that time is something that needs to be protected, that you need to know how to set limits, and more importantly, know how to say no. I am not saying that you should be selfish and refuse everyone, but protecting your time does not make you a bad person. On the contrary, it proves that you know how to appreciate yourself and what you have. People who truly love and respect you will understand when you decline an invitation because you have personal matters. They will not force you to give them time because they understand that time is a priceless gift that you can only give once. If you always let your time fall into the hands of others, your dreams, plans, and personal interests will forever be on the back burner. Later, you will find yourself missing out on things that should have been done. That's why knowing how to manage time is the way we respect ourselves. Time is not a buffet for everyone to enjoy, and you don't always have to serve everyone. Allow yourself to decline and save time for things that are truly meaningful and valuable. Because in the end, when you look back on your life, you will not remember the meaningless meetings or the times you helped others that no one recognized. You will remember the moments when you truly lived for yourself, with people who respected and understood the value of your time. So, protect your time like a treasure, because once it's lost, there is no way to get it back. 4. Your mental health. Mental health sounds like a familiar concept, but it is something that we easily forget. We often focus on taking care of our physical body, but rarely pay attention to taking care of our spirit. Just like a car needs fuel to run, the mind and spirit also need to rest and regenerate. But many of us think that if we just try to endure and overcome all difficulties, everything will be fine. For a while, I thought the same thing. When my work piled up, I told myself that I just needed to stay up a little late and work overtime a little, and everything would be done. When the stress was unbearable, I told myself to keep trying a little longer, but as time passed, I gradually became exhausted and lost interest in everything. Every morning I woke up feeling like I had run a tiring race, until a friend said that I looked like a completely different person. Only then did I realize that I was so tired that I had lost my best self. Mental health is not something that is only noticeable when everything collapses. It is the foundation of everything. Without it, we cannot enjoy any success, money, or recognition. But society often praises the spirit of working tirelessly, considering sacrificing sleep and time for ourselves as a sign of hard work. This creates invisible pressure, making us think that resting is a sign of weakness, that we are not strong enough if we need to stop. But the truth is, there is nothing admirable in waking up with anxiety every day, going to bed exhausted, and repeating it without a clear purpose. A life that only revolves around stressful work without time to enjoy and recharge is just surviving, not really living. Resting is not laziness, it is a necessity. It is indispensable for us to be able to stand firm and go far. So if someone blames you for taking time for yourself, remember that only you understand what your mind needs. Protecting your mental health is not just about surviving, but living with your full value. Sometimes saying no to an additional responsibility or job is the way for you to keep your peace. Because people who really care about you will understand and respect that. Set boundaries, take time to rest, and don't feel guilty for choosing mental health instead of sacrificing it. This is not selfish, but loving and cherishing yourself. When we know how to take care of our mind, everything else in life will become more pleasant and meaningful. So, protect your mental health, because it is the foundation for a full and happy life. 5. Your personal boundaries. Personal boundaries sound simple, but in fact, they are the most difficult thing to keep in relationships and life. They are not only invisible lines, but also a manifestation of self-respect and peace of mind. However, to get others to respect your boundaries requires perseverance and courage, because if we sacrifice these boundaries to please others, we will find ourselves gradually exhausted, used to the point of losing our original self. I was once the one who always said yes to every request for help. I was willing to do extra work. I accepted right away. I believed that saying yes to every request would make me trustworthy. It would show that I was caring and willing to share. But then I realized that the more I gave, the more people asked for. Gradually, I no longer had any clear boundaries between myself and the needs of others, to the point I felt like I had lost myself. One day, when faced with an unbearable request, I realized I had nothing left to give, but still had to give. That was when I understood that either I respected my boundaries, or I would forever live under the control of others, serving needs that never stopped. Setting boundaries is not really a refusal, but a freedom for yourself. The freedom to take a break, to spend time with people and things that really matter. People who truly love and respect you will never pressure you to go beyond your personal limits, because they understand and appreciate your integrity. But there will definitely be people, relationships that are always challenging, always pushing your boundaries further to get what they want. These are people who only really care about what you can do for them, not who you are. Setting boundaries does not mean we close the door to the outside world. On the contrary, it is a way to open up space for things that are truly valuable. Each person will have their own way of setting boundaries. It could be not answering work emails after hours or refusing requests from people who only come to you when needed. Boundaries are to protect you from things that damage your energy and spirit. They are a way for you to keep your peace. People who do not respect your boundaries are actually people who do not respect you. They only value your convenience and ability to serve, not who you really are. Sincere relationships will never ask you to sacrifice yourself to please them. When you set boundaries, you will see that people who truly care and understand you will respect that decision, while those who do not deserve it will automatically leave. Setting personal boundaries is not easy. It requires courage, honesty, and sometimes accepting that you may offend some people. But remember, you are not here to please everyone. You are here to be true to yourself, to preserve your values and peace of mind. Those who truly love you will always stay, no matter how many boundaries you set. So, respect your boundaries, because no one can protect them for you. Boundaries are not walls, but spaces for you to freely develop and live fully. 6. Your financial independence. Financial independence is not simply having money, but freedom, self-respect, and the ability to live the way you want without being tied down. When you can control your own finances, you are holding the right to self-determination, not depending on anyone else to make decisions for your life. But many people easily lose their financial independence just because they trust others too much or let themselves get caught up or a spiral of dependence. I used to think that financial independence was not so important, as long as I felt comfortable with my current situation. I thought that as long as I had a relative or partner by my side to support me, there was nothing to worry about. But then I began to realize that even small personal decisions required consensus or dependence on the opinions of others. That feeling of losing control made me hesitate before my own desires, gradually losing confidence when having to rely on someone financially. Financial independence does not mean that you do not trust or do not want to rely on anyone, but that you maintain your own freedom. When you are in charge of your own finances, you are not easily forced or compromised with things that go against your values. This also helps you stand firm in unexpected situations in work, relationships, or any situation where you need to make a choice. Many people think that in a relationship, when both sides share finances, dependence is inevitable, and even a sign of trust. But in reality, if you lose financial independence, control will gradually become dependent on others. This not only makes us lose the freedom to choose, but also easily becomes tied down in big and small decisions in life, from where to live, how to spend, to personal priorities. Many people get stuck in jobs that do not bring happiness or meaning just because they do not dare to trade financial stability. They long to pursue their passion, try their hand at a new field, but the fear of losing income makes them choose the safe path. This is the reason why financial independence is important. It gives you the freedom to choose your own path without having to fear financial risks. Achieving financial independence does not require you to be rich, but you know how to manage money wisely, know how to plan, and invest in yourself. When you are in control of your own finances, you are able to make decisions that are in line with your values and life goals. You are no longer afraid of being controlled by anyone. One of the biggest lessons I have ever received is that when you are financially independent, it is hard for others to control or pressure you. You have the right to refuse, to set boundaries, and to choose the path you believe is best for you. You will no longer have to stay in toxic relationships or jobs just because you worry about financial instability. Financial independence is the way you respect yourself, giving yourself freedom, autonomy, and confidence. Of course, achieving financial independence takes time, patience, and discipline. You need to learn how to manage your spending, say no to unnecessary expenses, and invest in yourself wisely. But every step towards independence is extremely valuable because it gives you the freedom to build your life the way you want. Don't let anyone convince you that giving up financial independence is a small sacrifice for love, loyalty, or peace of mind. In reality, when you give up financial independence, you not only lose your autonomy, but also the right to decide your own life. Financial independence is the way for you to stand firm, confident, and live true to your values, no matter what happens. 7. Your passion. Passion is the fire inside each person. It is what makes us feel we are truly alive. It is what makes life colorful. Passion is not just a temporary hobby or childish dreams that many people mistakenly think. It is a source of energy, the motivation that makes us work hard. It is the curiosity to explore that helps us go further every day. But sadly, passion is something that is easily put aside when others or society require us to pursue more practical things. There was also a time when I thought I could ignore passion and focus on things that were considered practical. When work pressure increased, I gradually put aside what used to make me passionate, telling myself that I would be free later and it's not too late to do it. But as the days passed, life became routine but lacked the feeling of excitement and true joy. That was when I realized that ignoring passion is not just ignoring a hobby, but giving up a part of yourself. Many people think that passion cannot bring money or success. It is often seen as a side thing, but passion is not just about career. It is about feeling fulfilled, about finding meaning in every moment. When you give up on passion, because you think it is not useful, life will become like a series of repetitive tasks. But when you keep your passion, even for a little time each week, you will feel like you are re-energized and have the energy to face any challenge. Passion does not have to be your main job. It does not have to be something big. It can be small moments when you immerse yourself in what you love, like painting, playing music, writing, or even taking care of plants. Those moments nourish your soul, helping you overcome fatigue and the feeling of monotony in life. When you spend time on your passion, you not only create joy for yourself, but also inspire others. Those who see the passion in you will also be motivated to find their own passion. People can say that passion is not reality, that life is not just for fun, but it is the moments of living true to your passion that make life worthwhile. Passion cannot be replaced by money or achievement because it brings deep satisfaction that nothing else can bring. Passion helps you keep your soul so that you not only survive but actually live. Keeping your passion is sometimes not easy because society often expects us to live in a safe rut. But only you know what your passion is, and only you can feel the joy of living true to it. So never let anyone dim that flame. Don't let passion be pushed back to some distant day. Starting from today, even if it's just for a little while, live with your passion. That is the way for you to nurture joy, creativity, and a sense of fulfillment in life, dear friends. The journey to train a strong spirit is never easy, but it is thanks to those hardships that we truly mature and understand the value of perseverance and courage every step forward. Every time we overcome difficulties is a time we deepen our inner strength, so that when faced with new challenges, we are more ready and steadfast. In this life full of expectations and pressures, there are things we should never trade. Those are our core values, the source of our energy, the fire of ourselves. From self-respect, dreams, precious time, mental health, personal boundaries, financial independence, to passion, all are the foundation for us to live fully and meaningfully. The world out there can always urge us to change, to compromise, to sacrifice what belongs to us. But remember that no one has the right to ask you to lose yourself. Those values not only help us shape ourselves, but are also the source of joy, confidence, and inner strength. When we protect them, we not only live for ourselves, but also for the integrity of a life that we are proud of. So, be brave to stand up, cherish, and protect what belongs to you. Don't let anyone or anything take away that precious thing. Live a life that you truly want to live, true to your values and dreams. Only you know what you want and need to be happy, and this life is yours to experience, to explore, and to be proud of every step you have taken. The Wisdom of Stoics hopes that through these shares, you have found inspiration to step out of your comfort zone, dare to face challenges, and pursue a meaningful life. Never forget that mental strength is something we can train and cultivate ourselves, so that it will be the fulcrum to help us stand firm in the face of life's storms. Thank you for listening and sharing this precious time. If you find the content above meaningful, don't forget to share this message with those you think also need to be reminded of their own values. And remember, you deserve to live a truly free and fulfilling life. We wish you all to always be steadfast on your path, and see you again in the next video.